What's up, you guys? My name is Joe and welcome to the Curly Girl Joe Show. We're gonna get into my supernatural experience. Most recent one, and I think this is a good way to figure out why I have such like a weird connection with kind of like supernatural, otherworldly, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. If you don't believe in it, then you're like, this is a bunch of bullshit, then why are you here? Just like, don't irritate yourself. Like, I wouldn't watch something that I'm like, this is bullshit, shut up, you know? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But, you know, it's up to you. My dad died in 2013 of colon cancer. I was talking to my mom the other day about this dream that I had told her about years ago, but I never went into detail about everything. I just said that there were lockets, and she got mad because it was a Christmas gift that she was getting together at that moment, literally getting it like engraved and shit. And there's no way that I could have known because I was in Tucson while she was in Phoenix and I was 2 hours away in a dorm. So I was talking to her today and I was like, yeah, like, remember that, like, because we just started getting on the subject of like supernatural shit. We were talking and I was like, yeah, like, I was talking about the dream and I was talking about how beautiful it was, and it was like it was this place where it was like white and gold. I always say white and gold because it was like glowing and it was beautiful, and and the trees were like golden or something, and they were like so different from anything that you could ever possibly imagine, wish you could see on earth. They were not something that they were here. It was not anything from this world. Not saying I was like in space, because I do not fuck with aliens. I sometimes get emotional talking about it because the beauty that flashes in my mind of seeing it, I'm just like, you will never experience something so beautiful until you go to that place when it's your time, or if you have this experience that I had. Ooh, already getting emotional. Look at this. Yeah, and I was at this table with my dad, and it was like a white table or like bench or park bench or something. And there were other people in that same setup, but they were laughing, having like a good time and stuff like that, and like looked like they were having like a real intimate moment. But I don't remember their faces. Like, you know that they're there, and you might see like a silhouette or whatever, but it's not your main focal point. And I do believe after all those years of having that dream, from 2013 to now me being 18, 19 years old, and then now I'm 24, I do believe that people were having that same dream that I was having, to talk to a loved one that they needed to hear something from them. And it was not my place to know what they looked like, what they were talking about. That was not my moment to have. And I think if anybody in this world ever has had that dream, I might have been one of those people that were in the background. They don't remember, they just know that there were people there. You know, my dad, and he looked so happy and so healthy and so like young and not sickly. Yeah, he just looked so young and so happy, and he was smiling, and he told me, be happy. Be happy. And I think now in the time of my life, I finally am being happy, and that is so great. But it took years, and that's sad that his message took till 2019. 6 years later, basically, to get to that point, but we got there. But the thing was, his mouth never moved. And when I was explaining my story, and she was like, yeah, I kind of had one like that. And she was kind of giving her side, and I was giving my side back and forth. Like, it wasn't me just telling the whole thing. At the same time, I was like, and she was like, this just same thing, but I don't remember his mouth moving. And she explained that she was in the same place that I was. I never knew that. I knew that she had a dream where he was like, yeah, you know, blah, 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 but she didn't tell me where she was. And I just like almost broke down crying, because I was like, what the fuck? Like, we were literally in the same place. So like, it's confirmed, I'm not crazy. Like, we were legit in the same place, and she never knew where I was. I never just divulged that to her. I only talked about the lockets. I had a dream about dad, and then and there were lockets, and that was it. But we finally like started talking about it like literally a couple days ago, and she explained the exact same thing, that it was such a beautiful place, and these leaves, and like it was glowing, and I'll never see it again in my life. And there was other people on this like tables like I was, talking to face to face another person like I was, but I can't remember them. And I'm just like, holy shit, that's the same. My dad, I feel like my dad had more words with my mom, which makes sense. basically he told her to live her life because that was her like one true love, like her first everything. Never had kids by anybody else besides him. All of my brothers and sisters are all from my parents. You know, like he was her like knight in shining armor, you know, but she never known where I was, so she didn't know the landscape to dream about it. So just to get that out of the way for the skeptics. But she was upset that he was saying that he was so happy and he felt good and blah blah blah, and it was kind of like, how dare you, because I'm suffering, which makes sense because it was very hard, very, very hard during that time. My family went through so much after my dad died, and it's so crazy, and we're like now together again, and it's great, but getting there was just, it was hard. And then we started talking about other things, the more like weird side of the things that have always happened. Literally, this is these things are from childhood, these weird instances, supernatural instances, things that have happened to me. My mom, I started talking about my sleep paralysis, and my mom's like, oh yeah, I get that too. And she was like, but it was only when your dad wasn't in the bed with me, so it happens pretty often now. And I was like, I was thinking, and I was like, shit, that does happen. I've never once had sleep paralysis, like serious, like scary sleep paralysis when Chris was in the bed, only when he left or wasn't there at all. And I was telling her about my sleep paralysis and how like when I get sleep paralysis, it's scary. It is very aggressive. I've had regular sleep paralysis where it's like, oh, I can't move, and that's still scary. But mine is, I see things while I'm paralyzed and it's above me or it's in the corner, and it's scary. That's all I have to say about that. It's honestly like terrifying. And my mom's like, yeah, that's just the north. Like, she's very like explain it away type lady, even though weird shit happens to her. And yeah, that's not my favorite thing to talk about, is my sleep paralysis. That's just bad. There's been like a constant shadow thing that would come through the door and go to my side of the bed, where like just where I just barely like can see him at the peripheral. Like if I look straight, I can kind of see like my hand. Like that's where it would always be, and it wouldn't be really close, but it'd be like against the wall. And I'm like, or even in the dark when it's happening, and like Chris is in the living room and the living room light is on, but it's not that bright in the room, I can still see it, and it's scary. It's not, that might be just someone being like, oh, it's just sleep paralysis, whatever. But it's honestly very, very frightening, very aggressive, and it'll leave me like, has anything ever tragic or like traumatic happened to you and you're just kind of silent, or you have that reaction to very like bad things? You're just like, and you're emotionally exhausted. Like last time I had sleep paralysis, something was like trying to, I don't know, like it was like above me, and it was dark in there and I could still see it. Like it's like, I don't know, it was above me this time though, and I knew it was trying to take me, and I clearly did not want to be taken. I told Chris, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. My reaction to things like this is just emotionally and spiritually draining. Like it's very, I was just like, I felt like I got hit by a truck. Like I was just like flu on flu on flu, like that achy, like just like, and I'm just, my eyes are low, and I'm just like, kind of just, did that just really happen to me? Very like in shock, basically. Like I don't do that. I don't react to that type of stuff where I'm just like crying and stuff like that. I'm always in just shock and drain. Like I'm like, I felt like I just fought for my soul or something. Like I was just like, and I was out of breath for a long time. Like I was like, for like 20 minutes afterwards. Chris was like, well, calm down, like, come here, like, let me hold you or something, like, you know, like, do you want to take a bubble bath with me, and like I can just like hold you, and like, because he could tell there's like something wrong with me. I was just like just so drained. But that was one. And then my mom has kind of the same thing that I do, where it's happened to her a couple times, where she says that she floats while she sleeps sometimes. I need people to understand that this is not something happening every 30 seconds. Like, this is like over like weeks, months sometimes, where nothing will happen and then something will happen. Like, it's not like a horror movie where it's just like every night, like 3 a.m. type shit. Like, that's not the case at all. She said that one time she was sleeping, opened her eyes, she was floating above her bed, and she started to like just kind of float to the side where she could see the other side of her bed. She looked back where she came from, she could see herself. She was seeing different parts of the room that you couldn't see, that you couldn't see from where she was sleeping on the bed, like the other side of the bed, like on the floor, like without moving, like you can't see those things, like different angles of the room, you can't see those while laying on your back sleep, you know. That happened to me a couple times. First time, me and Chris took a bubble bath. It was perfect temperature. I've always run cold. I'm always cold. Will always be cold. I'm wearing a sweater in Arizona because I'm honestly cold in my apartment. It's probably like 74 degrees right now and I'm cold. But we took a bath. It brought my temperature back to what it should be, and I guess like the temperature of the air, the bed, and my actual external body was so similar that I didn't really have like a great sense of self where I laid down, like a sensory deprivation chamber, how like the water and the Epsom salt and stuff like that is supposed to like have you like floating and mimic your body temperature. That's why I feel like sensory deprivation chambers won't work, because I'm gonna be cold in there, like I don't know. But it was kind of like that, where like you didn't have like a full sense of yourself, and you were just kind of like you can, and I felt it. That's the thing. Like, I felt that feeling before where, and it scared me because sometimes I get warm enough and the covers are perfect and the air is perfect. It doesn't happen very often, where I get that feeling where I like almost like a pulling, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm laying here and I could like sit up and myself would still be laying there. Like that type of feeling. Like, I don't know, like if I really wanted to, I could go, like, just, and I don't know how to explain that. I don't know if it makes sense. But yeah, that's what I felt like. I was like before, but this time I went to sleep and it was perfect. Like, I knocked out, and I remember getting up, going to the edge of my bed, turning around, seeing myself and Chris in the bed, both asleep. We were taking a nap. And I saw myself and I was like, fuck. And again, if this just happened where I didn't have like past weird shit, I would not be okay. I would be just boo-hooing, like just having a panic attack about it. But it's like my entire life has been weird shit, so it's like it still jars you. It definitely does. Like, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, the fucking ghost can just walk in front of me and I won't react at all. It still like does things to you because you're human. But if nothing ever happened to me before in my childhood, I'd have been like, oh my god, I'm freaking out. I was like, fuck, I am not supposed to be here. I should be there, right there on that bed. I'm not there. Why am I not there? So I've seen scary movies, all right? I've seen a lot of scary movies, a lot of like demon-y scary movies. I've seen Insidious, all right? Like, I ain't about to be no little boy that's lost from their body. So I walked my ass back to myself, and I just went back into my body. Like, it was crazy. And I woke up as soon as I was done going back into my body. Call me crazy, whatever. I don't do shrooms or any hard drugs like that. Weed, I have a weed card. That's it. But at that time I didn't have a weed card, so I'm not high going to sleep. Back and I woke up and I was like, babe, babe, babe. And he was like, what? And nothing ever happens to him. He doesn't see anything except for one time. And it was because he was with me. And I'm glad because that just confirmed I'm not crazy. I love being confirmed that I'm not crazy. And he was like, what? And I was like, I just left my body and watched us sleep for a little bit and then went back in. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like, just fuck, bitch, what? Like, I'm sleeping. Like, why are you waking me up with this bullshit? And I was like, no, legit, like I left my body and I don't know, came back, I don't know, and he was like, okay, well, and he's seen these scary movies too, so he's like, because he's used to this, he's been with me for a while, he knows that he's heard the stories from my own family members and stuff, so he knows. This is new to him. He's like, well, stay in your body. And I was like, yeah, you think? And then another time, I don't know what this was, Chris was in the shower and I was sleeping on his side of the bed so I could see the door, and the door was open and a little bit, like that much, so I could see, because like I'm clingy like that, and I don't, with all the crazy shit that happens to me, I don't like to be left alone. All in the room, honestly, by myself, if I don't have to. So I'll be like, babe, I'll sleep on his side because it gives me like comfort. It smells like him, and then I can like see him in the shower. And I'm sleeping because I'm tired, but I'm waiting for him to get out. So I fall asleep and I get up out of the bed, walk around, because like the door is on this side where my side is. His side, we have a California King, is on this side. So I have to like walk around the bed and then get to the door that leads out into the living room, not the bathroom. The bathroom is on his side. I don't go into the bathroom. And I know I left my body again. Like I didn't turn back, but I knew I left my body again. And I walked out into my little tiny, I have a 1-bedroom apartment, but it's nice. The walls are all nice kitchen and stuff like that, but it's small. It's like a racetrack. I walked out into my little, where my table would be if I had one, but my dog's cage is there and he was sleeping in his crate at the time, because whenever we're not like up and active, he's not out because he's a German Shepherd and he's bad. He's a good boy, but I don't want to set him up for failure pretty much. But I walked out, I even looked at him, he was sleeping. Wow, dog. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He was sleeping. I walk, I like see everything. I see into my kitchen, I see my couches. I'm walking to the door. I don't know why I'm walking to the door though. That's the thing. And I open up the door, about to go outside. This is not good, by the way. Like, I know this is not good, but I can't really stop myself from doing it, and I don't know why. Like, I just do it. And before I take any step outside the door, I hear, not you didn't make any noise, you were sleeping. I hope you guys heard him. But I heard this, it was far away and it echoed, but it was so loud and resounding, and it was just like, I only can describe it as a dog bark, but it wasn't a dog. It was just canine-like. I don't know what it was. That's as close as I can get to what it sounded like in like something that us regular people can measure. And I heard it. The door, I don't think the door was ever like physically open in this real world. I think it was open in like an in-between, because Chris would have came out, because we have bells on our door for the dog to ring when he needs to go to the bathroom. So those didn't ring. So I, in some other plane, opened the door. That animal, I don't know what it was, bark, whatever you want to call it, comes and it like rattles in my head, and I go like flying back to my body in my bed. Like, I'm not kidding you, like straight up I'm just like, huh, and I'm just going. And I'm on my side like this, turned towards the shower where Chris could see me if he like poked his head out. and I get slammed so hard back into my body, and I just start like almost seizing. Like I've seen many people have seizures, but I was like and I couldn't breathe, and I was making those noises, and I was literally like this, shaking all over my body. And Chris like rips the shower curtain open, and this, I guess this happened in a span of 10 minutes because he takes 10 minutes showers. So he like rips open the shower, and he's like, babe, and I'm sitting there like this on the bed, like just can't breathe, like it was just so hard getting knocked back into myself that I don't know what happened. And he was about to like call the police and the ambulance and everything, and I was like, I like finally caught my breath. I finally told him, like I told him what happened, and I was like, I'm out of breath again, I'm like exhausted, I'm like, I just felt like I ran 6 marathons. I was just like, I just couldn't talk, like I was so exhausted. I told him what happened, and he was like, what the fuck, like what the fuck. And I don't know, I sometimes see people that have died. It doesn't happen very often. It happens like every few years or something like that. Like it's not like, oh, I see dead people everywhere. Like it's not like that at all. And I honestly think it's because I smoke weed. Like, hear me out. I never ever have any nighttime issues leaving my body, or astral projecting, whatever you want to call it, or sleep paralysis with like aggressive beings, or like being touched and woken up and being whispered in my ear. I've had that happen multiple times, where I felt someone like do this to my hand when I was sleeping, and I pulled it back, and I was like, what the fuck, and I went back to sleep, and all of a sudden I hear, wake up, all in my ear, and I was like, ah. Chris is dead asleep on the other side of the bed, and I was like, babe, did you say something? He was like, no. And I said, no, I just go back, just not even paying attention. So that's happened. But I think it doesn't happen as often, and I'm cool with it, honestly, is because I smoke weed. Like I feel like it doesn't, I'm not open anymore in that sense. Like I'm not free to roam in different, I don't know, or like somebody explained it to me before as like a light. Some people, everybody has a light. Some people's are brighter than others, and that's why things tend to go to them. I think my light is a little brighter than a regular person, and I'm able to see, hear, feel things that other people can't feel. I honestly believe that people are just sometimes more sensitive to that type of thing. But I think me smoking weed all the time, because I smoke weed for my knee. I have my weed card. I'm legal. It's a known fact. We do all this shit legally. I really do think it like dims my light, where like I'm not as noticeable. Like I said, I don't have these instances when I'm high. I really don't. Like you would think that would be the thing to be like catapult you into this other world, but it does not. Like it almost closes the door that's cracked in my mind, that like lets things like go through and say, hey, hello, or like, you know, or like shuts like a filter off in my eyes when I'm high, where I can't see and hear things, like, you know, like I honestly think that's what it is. Like I 100% think that. So yeah, those are, I feel like I talked a lot. Those are some of my instances. Oh, one more. And Chris can attest to this. We went for a walk by a canal, and there's like a canal, and then there's like a dirt road where horses go, and then there's like a kind of paved one, asphalt, where like bikes go, and then the thing is in the middle. We were on the dirt side, my right, your left, I believe, and then this man and this old man, old woman, both had white hair, on the left side, your right. And we're walking, and we're passing them like that, and we see both of them, and I don't know what, maybe like 10 paces later, something tells me to turn around, and I turn around, and the old man, because they're walking pretty slow, they're old, they're like 70, 80, honestly, like white hair, like full on, like maybe 80, just taking a stroll while the sun is kind of going down, just leisurely, you know, it's a quiet area right there. Something tells me to turn around, and me and Chris both turn around, and we just look, and we're like, and we turn back around, and we keep walking, and we were like, the woman's gone. And I was like, the woman was there. He was like, yeah. There's no way she could have like sprinted off somewhere randomly or anything like that. He was walking just how he was when he passed us. Just slow paced, enjoying himself. And I honestly think that we saw like his late wife or someone, sister, whoever, woman in his life that he used to take walks with, walking with him again. Because she was gone as soon as we turned around. And there's no way. They were old. Like, you're not... I just sometimes hate being in an apartment because I'd be mad scared of noises. Yeah, she was just gone. Like, there was no way, because on their side, if you were to like go somewhere, there was like a thick tree lining almost. Like, it was like bushes and like low trees in Arizona because it was close to the mountain on the side where it's like very thick. Where the hell was this 80-year-old woman going? How fast? I took 10 steps and then I turned around. You ain't going nowhere, Betty. Because on the other side is the canal. There's no break in that. And the guy was walking just fine by himself, same pace, like nothing ever happened. So me and Chris saw like a man in his someone in his life taking a evening sunset stroll on the path. So that was cool. But yeah. That's about it. I am done talking for today. If you want to know more, I definitely have more. I just didn't want to make this like a 2-hour video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Also, if you want to hear more ghost stories, or you want to hear like weird ass experiences about how I got approached by a gypsy randomly in a mall, and she told me all these things that I was going through at the very instance, you know, like, subscribe, turn on the bell notification. I'll probably upload like once a week. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a skeptic, pick it apart if you want to. If you are into that shit, pick it apart. Try to see like, okay, why did this happen? Like, I want to know, shit, am I astral projecting up in this bitch? Like, is that normal? Like, I really do feel like weed is blocking the weird shit that happens to me. And I'm cool with it. I am all day. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the Curly Girl Joe show, and I hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, early morning, wherever you are after your blue call, whatever. And yeah, have a wonderful day.